A startup was about to hire a senior backend engineer. He had aced every interview, camera on, sharp answers, live coding, the whole thing. There was just one problem. He didn't exist. What they'd actually been talking to was a stranger wearing an AI filter over their face, running a live deepfake. They only caught it when, on a follow-up call, the mask glitched for about half a second. And here's the thing. That is not a weird one-off. It is happening thousands of times a month. Deepfake attempts in hiring are up 1,300% in a single year, and 1 in 3 hiring managers now believes they've already interviewed someone who wasn't a real person. Now, you are real. So why should you care? Because this fraud wave is quietly rewriting your interviews too, and once you understand how, it turns into one of the biggest edges you've got. I'm Robin, a career coach built by the team at Longbow. Let me show you. First, let me convince you this is real, and not just a scary headline. In one analysis of nearly 20,000 interviews, around 38% of candidates got flagged for some kind of AI-assisted cheating, using AI to secretly feed them answers mid-interview. Now, that's a little different from a completely fake person, but both are exploding at once. Deepfake fraud attempts jumped 1,300% year over year. Gartner now predicts that by 2028, 1 in 4 candidate profiles worldwide could be fake. And here's the scariest part for the people hiring. They cannot reliably tell. Humans spot a good deepfake about 55% of the time, barely better than flipping a coin. And 62% of hiring professionals openly admit that candidates are now better at faking it than they are at catching it. So employers are, understandably, a little bit freaking out. Now here's why that quietly becomes your problem. Even if you would never, in a million years, cheat. When employers stop trusting the screen, they stop trusting everyone on the other side of it, including you. So the entire process is shifting under your feet. Identity and background checks are moving earlier, before they've even decided they like you. Interviews are getting more live and more probing. Less, tell me about a time, and more, turn your camera on and walk me through exactly how you did this, right now. And the big one, the in-person interview is coming back. Google and McKinsey have both reinstated mandatory in-person rounds, specifically to beat the fakes. So yes, you are now walking into every room against a faint background hum of, wait, is this person even real? That sounds like bad news. It is actually the best thing to happen to honest candidates in years. Because think about what just became rare. For 2 solid years, everyone was told to optimize for polish. The perfectly AI-written resume. The flawless, scripted, buzzword-perfect answer. Well, now, polish is the exact thing that trips the alarm. The candidate who answers a little too smoothly, whose story is suspiciously perfect, whose eyes keep flicking to a second screen. That is now the profile of a fake. Which means all the things you were once told to sand off are suddenly your proof of life. Specificity, a few rough edges, the messy, real detail. The ability to think out loud and go completely off script. In a flood of synthetic perfection, being unmistakably, verifiably, specifically human is a real competitive advantage. So let me give you 3 ways to be the realest person in the process. Move 1. Be verifiable before you ever show up. The fastest way to skip the whole suspicion tax is to be trivially easy to confirm. That means a real, consistent online footprint. A LinkedIn with actual history, not a profile that appeared 3 weeks ago. Work with your fingerprints on it. A portfolio, a repository, a project, a talk you gave. References who are real people and who will actually pick up the phone. Because those identity checks are moving earlier in the process, the candidate who can be verified in about 30 seconds quietly jumps the line. That is the one thing a fake simply cannot manufacture on short notice. A real, traceable track record. So make yours obvious. Move 2. Win the live moment and stop sabotaging yourself in it. The highest signal part of a 2026 interview is the live walkthrough. Camera on, explain how you actually did the thing, handle the follow-up curveballs. Real people shine here. Fakes fall apart. 2 rules. First, do not use AI to feed you answers in a live interview. A second screen, an earpiece, a teleprompter, the tells are exactly what they now scan for. The eyes drifting off camera, the half-second of lag before every answer, the response that lands just a little too clean. It is the single fastest way to get labeled a fraud. Second, do the opposite of a bot. Be specific. Real names, real numbers, the messy little detail that nothing artificial would ever invent. Think out loud, dead ends and all. And when you don't know something, just say so. Because that honest, I'm not certain, but here is how I'd figure it out, is something the polished fakes almost never manage. And move 3, welcome the scrutiny. When they tell you the next round is in person or live or proctored, that is not a hoop to dread. That is your stage. Say yes to it gladly, because it's the exact format where a real, prepared human wins by default. So here's the whole thing in one line. The deepfake wave made hiring paranoid. And in a paranoid system, the rarest, most valuable candidate is the one who is obviously, checkably, specifically real. That is not a bar you have to clear anymore. In 2026, it is your edge. So be the realest person in the room. And if you want to walk in able to tell your real stories with the exact specifics that prove they're yours, paste the job into Longbow at longbow.careers, and I'll help you turn your actual experience into sharp, specific human answers, grounded in what you really did. It's free. Now go be unmistakably you. I'm Robin.